Are we close enough in our podcaster, listener, cheer parent relationship where I can give you some loving, constructive advice? Are we there yet? Is this going to be okay? I'm going to take your silence as a yes. Moms of minis, moms of mini athletes. I'm gonna need you guys to take a deep breath. Let's do it together. Deep breath, let it out. My friends, I love you, and I want you to know it's going to be okay. I know that you are stressed. I know that you are probably a newer mom. You probably have other littles running around. That young new mom life is no joke, and it is not for the weak, and it is not for the faint of heart. You are strong. You do not have a faint heart. You have an energetic heart. You are a queen. You are a childbearing goddess. You are amazing. Not only are you handling this little sprightly ball of energy, you have chosen, or not, to allow that ball of energy to get that energy out and channel that energy into all-star cheerleading. I both applaud and pity you, but mostly admire you for doing this in the first place. Many of you I have seen, you are with child. You are waddling around those event venues. My feet hurt after a long day in those venues. I can't imagine waddling down those venue halls, 8 months pregnant. I can't imagine what your feet and back and hormones are feeling. Many of you have babies strapped physically to you, or you are chasing after a toddler, in addition to making sure that your mini athlete looks perfect and is at their competition on time. I recognize that is not easy, but I'm going to need you to take a deep breath and channel your stress into cheering and yelling loud for your athlete. It does not help when you take it out on vendors. It does not help when you take it out on coaches. I'm paraphrasing, but there is a passage in the Bible that talks about worrying does not add 1 minute or 1 day to your life. Worrying about your athlete's performance and how they're going to do is not going to impact their performance. It will not impact even tomorrow. I know that you're stressed about their forward roll and about that moment when they do the hands and knees and someone has to stand on their back. I know that that is the most stressful part of your week. I recognize it. But a year from now, that is not going to matter. So I'm going to need you to take it down a notch and not worry about it so much. If you need help, I know some meditation exercises. I will hold your hands and we can breathe together. I will hug you. I will pray for you. I will stroke your hair. As a mother of 2 adult children, one of them having been in cheer over a decade, I will stand at the end of the tunnel for you and tell you it's going to be okay. They're going to turn out all right. That forward roll, it was a lesson. I will encourage you. I will give you advice. I will answer all of your questions. But whatever chill pill you need, please take it before you get to the competition venue. Okay, Thank you for coming to my TED Talk. Let's get on with the episode.
All the moms in the world, let's chat it up. We're talking competitions, uniforms, and all of the above. It's the Cheer Mom, yes, the Cheer Mom podcast. Cheer Mom, yes, the Cheer Mom podcast. Cheer Moms, your podcast is on.
Today's episode, I am not here to talk about many athletes. I'm actually here to talk about college cheer. It's going to be from the perspective of an actual college athlete, but not in the way that you might think. Cheerleading in college is something that I think a lot of times us parents look to as a status symbol, as like something that's just really cool and impressive. And it is, especially now, seeing your cheerleader make a college team can mean all kinds of opportunities, like an incredible game day experience that not many people get to have. It is a built-in community. It's almost like a sorority of its own, like unofficially. Being on the cheer team may provide additional resources like access to athletic meal plans or venues that they might not otherwise have experienced. Those are all good things. Campus life, the letter jackets, all of the automatic things that we think about when it comes to college cheerleading. But one thing that you may not be thinking about, I certainly hadn't, is the other opportunities that being on a cheer team in college bring that are applicable to what the students may be studying. So I got to sit down with a University of Colorado Boulder cheerleader. Joey is a senior at CU Boulder, has been in cheerleading for so much of her life and went on to be a college cheerleader. And when I met Joey, I met her in the context of I was at a pre-game spirit event and the cheerleaders come and they get there a little bit early before their performance and they mingled with alumni and mingled with people at the event. And my daughter was on the CU cheer team at the time and introduced me to Joey and said, Joey is the social media captain for the cheer team. I thought that that was really cool. I never really thought about that being an official position or official role within the cheer team. And I honestly never thought about a student running the social media account. I think that most of the time, or a lot of the time, when they're younger, it is a coach who is running those social media accounts. It's a parent or a staff member running the social media account. But of course, how cool is it that a student not only gets to run the social media account, but there's a role for like social media and marketing captain, right? It turns out she was a marketing and advertising major. I won't spoil the rest of the interview, but Joey and I talk about the opportunities afforded her and potential opportunities that could be afforded to your athlete by being a part of the cheer team at their college or university and what that can translate into beyond a great game day or spirit or campus life experience. Joey is such a sweetheart, took time out of her 2 and 3 a day practices during national season to talk to me. And Joey, I just appreciate you so much. You're going to do amazing things.
I am joined by, I consider you a friend, my friend Joey. Joey, you are a senior at the University of Colorado. You've done cheer all 4 years?
Yes.
One of those was a COVID year, so
Yeah.
that was probably weird. But welcome to the podcast, Joey. I am so excited to learn about college cheer from maybe a different perspective.
Well, I'm so excited. I can't wait. I'm so excited to share. It's brought me so many opportunities, and I just can't wait to talk about it with you.
Okay, so tell me, how did you get involved in cheer? How long have you been involved with cheerleading? Tell me where it all began.
So when I was really young, I don't even remember. Everyone always asks me how I got into cheer, and I don't have a for sure, like, this is the story. But what I kind of remember is that my brother was playing football and we were at one of his JV games and we're 6 years apart. So I was like really young at that point. And I saw the cheerleaders doing flips and I was like, oh my God, I want to do that. That is what I want to do. And my mom was like, I'm going to put you in this because like my brother only started football in high school. So he really only played until his junior, senior year. And he wished he started earlier. So she's like, I want to put you in this now because it's something I know you'll love. And I want you to be really good at it when you get there. Just to have me do something. So I wasn't really I played hockey for a little bit, but it wasn't like my favorite, thing. So she put me into cheer. I started tumbling classes at like a gymnastics gym and I just loved it. And I was trying to flip around the house. Like tumbling class was only once a week. And I think she was freaked out because I would go into the house and just try to flip anywhere I could. Like it was a mattress, it was whatever. And she's like, okay, you need to like be in a gym more often. So I got put in competitive cheer for, I want to say 6 years. I can't even remember. Had the best experience. My coaches, I hope they listen or listen to this because I know they follow you like my old coaches and they just made me fall in love with it. And it was just like so much fun. I had them from the start to beginning. So when they opened the gym, I was there. And then unfortunately, like post COVID, they closed and moved. So I was there from the beginning of the gym opening to the end. And like, it was just a family because like everyone that had been there for so long. And I just knew that going into college, I wanted the same thing. College here isn't for everyone, and that's very clear. But like for me, it was something that I knew I needed. I found that family right back here at the University of Colorado. And being an out of state student, it was just like the most relieving thing knowing that you have not even just the girls on the mat, like everyone, the whole team, however many of us, like everyone is there going through the same thing. And that is just like the biggest thing that drew me to college cheer is like that friend group and everything.
Okay, so let's talk about All Star Cheer. What was the name of the gym that you were at?
I was at Pacific Coast Magic for I wanna say it was 3 years, and then the owners of my gym switched names, so we became Stars Vipers California. So Stars Vipers is based out of
Yes.
Texas. They're so good. So we became Stars Vipers for, like, the last 2, 3 years. Can't even quite remember. So it was just like a name switch. I really don't know too much behind it, but we went to Summit and everything, like, the people from Texas would come and, like, cheer us on because they don't really have any local gyms, like, it was just us in California, so when we'd go there, it was, like, so cool to meet everyone. That was such a highlight, just meeting everyone in Florida. It's like a family, but, like, you're not we didn't really know them, but it was just
Yeah.
so cool. Yeah.
It's almost like a sorority fraternity. Like you're part of this like special group and you
Mhm.
all share this common thing. And I actually think my friend Jason Larkins with the Let's Talk Cheer podcast started at Pacific Coast Magic. Am I right?
Yes, which is actually very funny because he came to our gym when he was still with PCM, I think. He, like, came to our gym one day, and I had met him, like, very briefly, but he came up on my Instagram a few days ago, and their daughter's name is Joey, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes.
It's, like, spelled
Yes.
the same way, and I was like, "Oh my god, that is so cute." It's, like, 'cause my name's not very, like, common, so when I saw that, I was like, "Oh my god, like, that is really cute."
That's so serendipitous. We love
Mm,
Jason. I love Jason. And he is like the
mm.
top tier podcaster in the business. So, man, that's really cool, right? What a small cheer world it is, right? Like
Mhm.
everybody kind of knows everybody. So, what level team did you end up when you finished out your all-star career?
I was on a senior 4, a small senior 4 for, like, the last 3
Okay.
years, and at that point, that was the highest we were a pretty small gym, like, we were pretty, like, a niche location, so that was, if I'm not mistaken, the highest level we had. Oh, I was on a senior 4 in a non-tumble, the 1st or 2nd year of non-tumbling division, and I was on that when I,
Oh, wow. Okay.
was out, yeah.
So were you in high school at that time, or did you lay down your all-star shoes and go into high school cheer?
I did high school as well for 4 years. Mm.
Okay. So you did
But
both at the same time?
yeah, but my high school didn't compete. It
Okay.
wasn't like I was competing with both teams, it was like high school is just, like, sidelining games and then yeah.
Okay. And so this is out in California where cheer is like You're like, "Oh, we didn't compete." But, like, cheer in California, people think it all happens in the South. Cheer in California is serious business.
It is. There are some amazing schools. And now my program, we didn't compete then, but they compete now and they are doing really well. It's just been cool to watch them grow like so much from when I left to now.
Did you always know that you wanted to cheer in college?
Yeah. Like I was like it's like iffy. Like I don't really know when it was like yes, but I don't remember it me ever being like, oh, I don't know. Like I don't remember what the turning point was for me. But also my high school was, like I said, it was kinda small, and our cheer team was kinda small, and there was only 2 girls that had gone from my high school team to a college team. So it, like, wasn't very common, and I feel like in
Oh, wow.
college, sideline is such a big deal that I'd never learned that. I think it was, like, I knew I wanted to do it, but I know it was, like, a big transition. But sideline now is, like I'm like, "How did I thought competing was, like, everything, but now I'm just in love with sideline, like, it's just, like, so fun.
I'm glad you said that because I think a lot of athletes need to hear that. Don't discard sideline as a means for competition, as a means of enjoyment, even if you are a super tumbler, super star, all-star cheerleader. Like sideline is it's this whole other beast that you really can learn to love and be competitive in.
Yeah, and sideline, like, at CU, we really focus on there's, like, 3 pillars. So 1 is competing, 2 is sideline, and 3 is, like, the community. And we really focus on not taking away from any of those and, like, balancing that out. And we do a like, I think I don't know if most programs do this, I really don't know, but what we do is, like, we have, like, certain points that we have to get to, so you have to do community events, the more you do, the more points you get, and that's how you letter and things like that, and that is, like, really motivating because honestly, like, the 2 minutes and 30 seconds I spend on the floor competing, I cannot tell you I can't really remember me competing on the floor in competitive cheerleading, like, there's not a time I remember. But it was the times that, like, I was in the gym and the level 1 team, the mini level team was, like, sitting in front of us watching, like, that's what I remember. And so, I can't tell you much of what happens from games, like, it's just such a blur, it's so much happening. But I can tell you the times where I'm walking to something and a little girl's like, "Oh, can I take a picture?" Like, I remember that. So, it's like the community
I
is such
love
and,
those
like
moments.
yeah, if you're gonna be a college cheerleader, like, you really have to love all 3. I didn't know that before going in, but you do. Like, there's not one that's put above another, at least in our program, that's not how we run it at all, but, like, that's how you want it, like, that's how I want it. Maybe that's not for everyone, but I love that.
It's
Yeah.
more of a well-rounded experience for you. It's not just about football games or it's not just about making mat. It's a whole community rounded experience for you as the athlete, as the student, as the person.
We are student athletes, like, school goes right into that too.
Yeah. So let's go back to your high school days. Did you decide that you wanted to do cheer before you applied to college, or what did that process look like? Because I always tell people there's a difference between going to college for cheer and going to college and doing cheer, right? So what was that process like for you?
What you said right there, like, hits it on the head, like, that's really the most important point, and for me, it was I was gonna go to college no matter what, whether I cheered or not kinda played a part in that, but I wasn't gonna sacrifice my school to then go to, like, a college that didn't have the exact major I wanted, if that kinda makes sense. Like, I wasn't gonna sacrifice that to make the
Mhm.
team. Well, my mom and I actually did, which I like, oh my gosh, whether you're going to cheer in college or not, this was, like, the best. We made a board, and the board had, like, categories of, like, if they had the certain major, what was the SAT score I had to get? What was the GPA, like, the average GPA to get in? How far like, the miles away from home was one. Another was, like, what kinda cheer team do they have? And so all the schools I applied to had a category, and then it had, like, a green dot or, like, a red dot, or the miles were, like, put, in that row. And so it kind of, like, gave us a visual of, like where the most important things to me lie. And when I got in, we put like a green check mark next to it or whatever it was. And so I think like the University of Colorado, when I saw it, had an amazing balance. Like I wanted to be a business major and I always knew marketing was kind of my path. And so Lead School of Business happens to be one of the best business programs or like top 20 in the country. And so when I saw that, I was like, okay, this is good. And then it's like, okay, look on their Instagram. Do they have a co-ed or all girl team? Then you watch the nationals routine, you see what they're
Do they make
throwing.
finals? Yeah.
Yeah, like all that. And then you look up the coaches and like, it so it did play a part. Like I can't say it didn't, but at the same time, if I didn't make cheer at CU, I still would have gone to CU. It's a balance for most people, and it's just something I was really passionate about from the beginning. As I said before, my high school is really small, and so I was one of the only girls that could tumble. Like we didn't really tumble that much. So a lot of girls were like, "Oh, you're gonna go to college for it," and I'm like, "Guys, like I don't have a full, like I don't have a full. Like I don't even know if I can go to a college cheer team." And so it was kind of like a guessing game, like was I gonna cheer or not?
That's so interesting because, I talked to a lot of coaches and leaders in the industry. And on a previous episode, we talked at length about, with Infinity Steves, about you have to make sure that you are going to enjoy the university that you plan to attend, regardless of cheer team, because you never know. God forbid you could get injured, or cheer isn't your passion anymore, or you don't make the team. Then what? So it's important to make sure that you and the university itself are a good fit for each other. But one thing that you said that I think is important for athletes and their parents to remember is, just as much as you want to be noticed by college coaches, and a lot of athletes will build their social media to be noticed for college. And I think that there's a benefit for that. Just as much as you want people looking into you as an athlete and as a person that could be a potential good fit for their team, you should be looking at the team and the coaches and the values of the cheer team to make sure that they're a right fit for you. And I think that's important to, you said you looked up the coaches and you watched the team at nationals. I think those are things that can be missed, especially if you're not going to like a Kentucky or an Alabama or a Navarro, where everyone kind of knows their cheer team. But these college cheer teams that maybe fly under the radar, that are solid programs, it's important to look into what they're doing. And you can find that online.
Like literally online. And something that's really important to me is like you cannot go cheer a football game if you don't love your school. The girls that I see that have a hard time during game day, like no one, I'm not even thinking about anyone in particular, but I know sometimes people go through that. It's because they don't love it. Like I can sit here and I'm like, oh my God, like I love the Buffs, but I love the Buffs because this school has given me so much. And, like, that won't be the same for everyone. Like, there are girls that I see doing game day, like, we used to watch Tennessee game day all the time, and, like, you can tell those girls, like, they just love the Vols, you know what I mean? Like, the Vols are just everything. We had a coach come help us from Tennessee, and you could tell, like, he wore a Buff shirt, but you knew he was a Vol. Like, you know. And so, I think I was like, I just love the Buffs. Like, and if you don't love it, then it's not gonna work? If I came here and didn't make the cheer team, my life would be so much different. But I think that it would still kind of have that base layer because I still love the school so much. Like, you don't have to cheer for the school to love it, and you don't have to, but you have to love the school to cheer for it.
Yeah. And there's no, Joey, correct me if I'm wrong, there's no like real initiation or indoctrination of loving your school mascot or loving your school's spirit. Like there's no like, forgive me for the religious terms, but like there's no like baptism or anything that like makes you magically love the school because you're a cheerleader or because they give you all this secret information. Like, you have to love the school on your
Oh,
own.
yeah. I walk on campus every single day and I'm just like, wow, like I'm just in awe. I grew up in California, so I'm pretty close to like around the coast area-ish. So there's really no mountains. So every time it snows, still people make fun of me because I'm like, oh my God, wow, like I just love it, you know? And it doesn't mean you have to go somewhere different. You can, I would, if I went somewhere at home, I know I would love it. You know, it was just the place for me. And I think where a lot of girls go wrong is that like, I remember when I was about to go into college here, and I was watching all these YouTube videos, and all these girls were like, "Oh, when I step on campus, I just knew." I can tell you right now, I never had that moment when I came to see you. Like, I never had that moment that was like, "Oh my gosh, this is where I wanna be. This is the place for me." I never had that, but I loved it. Like, saw the campus, and I was like, "Wow, this is one of the best campuses I've ever seen." But there's nothing that was like, "Oh my god, this is mine. This is where I'm gonna be." There was nothing that was like that. And so when I came here, it was hard. It's hard moving away from your family. And I think why I love CU so much is because I struggled coming here. Like it's a struggle for anyone, whether in state or out of state. College is a struggle for everyone. And but that's why I love it. Cause like the support that I got in like everything here, like that's why I love it. And it made me a better person. It's not easy. Like no matter if you're going 5 minutes away from home or like a couple states over, it's hard. But that's okay. Like, it's okay to go out of your comfort zone. And I think a lot of girls I talk to, like, they never had that, "Oh my god, CU is my school," and some girls did, and it's okay. I'm not a person that's like, "Oh, it's certain," you know, there's always a question mark, but I'm so glad I came and did it. But it's not for everyone. Not everyone's gonna be like that.
And you came to see you at a very interesting time. You loved the Buffs before loving the Buffs was necessarily mainstream. Now, as you are a senior, you have gotten to experience, call it pre-prime and post-prime. What has it been like? There is so much national attention, never mind all of the local attention. There's been so much national attention on University of Colorado since Deion Sanders got there. I mean, my husband and I can't wear a CU hat on a plane without at least one person going, "Oh, go Buffs. Like, you guys have got Coach Prime. Like, you're," and it's been like that since they made the announcement. What has it been like for you now that we're through a football season from the cheer perspective with all of this added national attention?
It's kind of funny because everyone's like, "Oh, does the success of the football team really impact what you do on the field?" Short answer,
I hope not, because we only won one game last season.
yeah, but, like, not really, because like, we still do the same stunts, we still put up our stunts, we do the timeouts, you know? I think what the CU fan base has brought in is, like, my parents go to most of the games, and they're like, "Oh, people have now been," they meet people that have been like, "Oh, I've been a CU fan for 3 weeks because of Coach Prime." People come to the game like that, but then you still see those fans that have been there for their whole life, like Peggy, for example. She has been to every single game pre-Deion Sanders and post-Deion Sanders, and now she's getting this attention for being this, like, amazing CU fan, but she has always been there, you know? And so I think it's almost like bringing in attention to the school that it's like, I don't wanna say, like, it deserved, but it's like we work
It's
so
always been
hard.
there.
It has, like, the love has never stopped. Has it gotten bigger? Oh, yeah, for sure. There's so many more people wanting to hop on the train and ride it along with us because we were so successful this year. And he brought so much, like, belief. Like, think about a team that is going out and having to, for their first game, beat a team that played in the national championship. If you don't believe, they wouldn't have done it, you know? Like, you have to believe. And so I think everyone in the department, and it related to every program, like the soccer team made it to NCAA. The women's team was like successful last year. They made it to Sweet 16. The men's team has always been, you know, like they've been up and climbing. Like it's, you
Yeah.
know, he really did impact every sport for the better. I mean, there are some challenges that it brings with it. I know like the transfer portal was a huge one, but like he brings so much energy to the game that it's like it just gets you so pumped up. And like now it just feels like the state of Colorado has been so supportive of one another. Not that we weren't before, but it just like brought everyone in the same place and you're like, I believe. And like that is such a refreshing feeling. Like we were never separated, but just having it be even closer is just like you feel like this whole community, like it's brought the community together to believe in one. And like that's the real impact he's brought, not
I
just
love
like
that.
the wins. Like that's what I want everyone to know what Coach Prime has brought. It's like just the belief in the community.
Yeah. So, from a game day as a cheerleader, from that perspective, what are some of the positives and maybe not so positive things about having all of this national attention?
Yeah, positive is that as a cheerleader, you always dream of being on the sideline at a sold out football game. So having that every single weekend was like unreal. And then we also got college game day came, and that was so cool. And especially being someone that wants to work like in the sports industry in the future, like it was so cool just seeing how everything was run. I was on TV, but like that wasn't even the highlight. Like it was the highlight of seeing how like all the hard work from all the people that came there and how they communicated with each other and like how things were run. Like that was the highlight of it. At least for me. I mean, some other girls, it might have been just being able to like have that attention for the first time and like being recognized as a program was just so refreshing. I think with that, there are so many more eyes on you. As a cheer program, it's hard because we're not the football team. Like that is huge, so much attention, but we're like the easiest thing to get through besides the football team. So when you're walking around sometimes people will be like, "Oh, like, how like what are you doing with the losses or whatever?" And you're just like, "Go Buffs." Like I love the Buffs win or lose. But it's hard when fans are like, "Oh, like, what about this? What about Coach how do you feel about Coach Prime?" You're like, "Well, I love the football team no matter if Coach Prime was the coach or not." So, I think the negatives aren't it's like kind of a negative, but kind of not. It's like you deal with these fans that are just like asking you questions and you're like, "Well, I love it either way. I've cheered all 4 years. Whether he here or not, I still love the Buffs." I think
I love
that's
the
like
Buffs before they were cool.
truly, that's no, for real.
Yeah. Or before everyone else thought they were cool. We always thought they were cool, but
Mhm.
and I'm sure, one thing that I definitely didn't realize about college cheerleaders, like it makes sense that things you don't think about is you're there game day ready before literally anyone else is there game day ready. You are there to clap in the football players and you're there to encourage the fans and be there with the fans. And you are setting the stage, not just in the four quarters that they're playing the game and every moment in between, but long before the game starts. What does that typical game day look like before the game even starts for a college cheerleader?
So, it's hectic, but I would do it all over again if I had the chance. You typically get to the field 4 or 5 hours before the game, which is good in some ways because you don't have to deal with the traffic, but that's besides the point. So, but before that, you still leave 30 minutes in advance no matter how far you live, you gotta get there on time. You're getting ready 2 hours before that, but then you have to eat breakfast, so it's a long day. But I'll give you, like, my daily my game day routine. I usually wake up, you have your food, it takes, like, an hour or 2 to get ready, you go to the stadium, and from there on, they wanna touch up the fields early with the paint. You have to get on the field before they do that. So we are warming up because the only time to warm up is like almost 4 hours before the game. So you warm up for 4 hours before the game. Usually we get maybe sometimes it's like a sponsor or something that wants us to go to like a tailgate or something to, cheer or something like that. So we'll do that. And then college game day coming, I'm getting a little off track, but when college game day came, they came the Friday before. So we were cheering like Friday morning and then basically like cheering all day and then waking up the next morning for the actual game. So when college game day comes, you also have that appearance, and then we had another big game day group come, so you go to that appearance, and then we go to Balch Fieldhouse every game. If you're a CU fan and haven't been to Balch Fieldhouse to watch the cheerleaders, you have to do that before the game. It's like my
So
favorite
cool.
part, literally. So I love it so much. And then you run right out onto the field. You don't have much time. They give us some time to eat in there, just to make sure we're good to go, but there's not a full lunchtime we don't have to sit there and eat food, it's just like you take what you got and you have to keep going. You run out onto the fields, then you start like the pregame routine right away. So usually when you start that, like not very many people are in the stands and it kind of keeps trickling in. You do game day, you're out from the pregame to halftime. You run in the locker room at halftime. You get 10 minutes to, eat as much food as you can. Then you run the flags when Ralphie runs. Like you just are constantly like running and moving. My mom is like, I want to put a camera on you for everywhere you go in a game day. I'm like, I know because we go like miles just running around the CU campus, It's big already, but we just keep running around it. But it's hectic and it's very tiring. I'm not even gonna sugarcoat it. It is hard. It is very hard to have a smile on your face for 4 hours, but I say it's hard because it's like energy, but I love it so much that it's not hard for me, Like, it's not hard emotionally for me to be like, "I'm gonna cheer until this game ends, win or lose." And it's not even because we were winning this year, it was just, even last year, it was like, it's hard because it's physically demanding, but I love it. I wanna stay out there until the clock hits 0. That's just how it is. Like, even if I was a fan and wasn't a cheerleader, like, I would be out there until it says 0 on the game clock, and then it was done. For me, that's how it goes.
Well, I love it, and I love how positive you are. One thing that I think you're being humble about, another that I will take up for you guys in a heartbeat every time is A, oh, like we're ready 4 hours before the game. Friends, let's not forget that some of these games start at 10 or 11 in the morning. So these girls have like 5 a.m. warm up times. If college game day does come to your school, that is so exciting. But doesn't college game day start at like 7 a.m. Eastern or something crazy? I mean, you
Yep.
guys are up at the crack of dawn. I was around game day when college game day came, and I saw cheerleaders walking around at 4:45 a.m., like, makeup on, ready to go. That is one thing that I think college cheerleaders are underappreciated for. And the other thing is, like, you talk about, like, eating as fast as you can, like, food that is usually not provided to you by no shade to any university, but, like, not provided to you by the university, not provided by the athletic program. You don't have a cushy locker room to, like, rest and put your stuff in. Like, cheerleaders are making it work and making it happen for everyone with little to no compensation or reward, even in the form of, like, food or "we appreciate you." So, if you happen to see a college cheerleader, like, just tell them thank you or give them a sealed bottle of water in appreciation because they work hard and make things happen. I guarantee you, if the cheerleaders weren't there at your college football game, you would notice. So, take care of your college cheerleaders.
Amen. No, yeah, there was 4 AM call times. It's funny because we get the schedule, like, a few days in advance, and everyone's like, "Oh my god," like, you don't check anything else but the time you have to be there. Like, that's all I had to know, it's the time I would be there because it could be you have to be there 3 AM, you're waking up at 1, and a lot of people have classes Fridays, so you gotta figure out what time you're gonna go to bed the night before to get a good night's sleep, and I'm a very routine person. If there's anything about me, it's I'm a routine person, so going to bed early and waking up the next day super early, that it's hard. Like, that is the hardest thing for me.
Yeah.
And yeah, I think but one thing about cheering at CU is that, yes, the food isn't provided by the university and you do have to bring your own. We're the program that gets the most from our university that I have heard of, like that I have talked to other cheerleaders about. Because we do have a locker room. And while it's not big enough for everyone to have their own chair, like we do have that space to ourselves. And I am like so lucky that we even have a spot in there to put our stuff and to have an area for ourselves and we get weight trainers, we get access to the dining hall and like all these other things that not every school has. And so I remind a lot of my teammates that we are still very lucky. Everyone always wants more. Everyone's like, oh, but what if we got this? But we have this. Like we have such great support systems through our athletics department. And I think one thing that is really eye-opening is, like, you have to look at an athletics department. If you have, someone in, like, Coach Prime coming in, bringing in all this attention to the football program, that is a huge stress for everyone working in the athletics department. Of course, they are not gonna focus, like, on the not saying we were put aside in any way, but, like, they're like, this is what's bringing in, like, all this attention. Of course, you have to focus on it. Like, that of course, like, that is just how it's gonna go. So I always remind, like, we do get so much, and we were so lucky to be a part of this amazing, like, Coach Prime coming in and experience this amazing transition in athletics department. Like, that is so cool, and that is something you will tell your family in the future. Like, that is
Oh,
just
I
like
love your attitude of gratitude. I love how
thank you.
how grateful you are. I'm gonna use this as a public service announcement to anyone listening. If you own a business or have access to a business that can provide resources for the cheer team, especially on game day, like if you can get food donated, if you can make a donation to get something catered for them, I guarantee you 9 times out of 10, probably more, even if it's a big major D1 university, odds are that your cheer team doesn't know where their next meal is gonna come from. They don't know what they're gonna be eating on game day, so it takes a village, it takes a community, and if you have resources, your cheer team, I'm sure, can utilize those because there are resources in athletic departments, in student services departments that are going to well-deserving other groups, but that means that sometimes the cheer team gets overlooked or under budgeted as a result. So, end of my soapbox, end of my PSA, end of my TED Talk. We can move on now. But Joy, I love your grateful attitude, so thank you
Oh,
for that.
cute.
Okay, let's move on to, we talk about cheerleading, we talk about making Matt and the competitive parts of cheer, and of course, the instant community that it provides you with, especially on a college campus with campus culture. But what we don't hear a lot about, and what I've noticed with you, is cheer actually helping you on your career path or on your degree path. And that has worked out for you in a special way. So tell me what that has looked like throughout your 4 years at CU.
Yeah, so I was sitting with my coach one day, and she was talking to me about my major, what I wanted to do. I always knew I wanted to work in sports, like, not even a specific team or a specific sport. Like, it was just I wanted to work in sports. And she goes, we have marketing interns, like, in the athletics department." And I was like, "What?" I was like, What? How come I miss out on this? I'm gonna be a junior next year. Like, I wish I started it now. I was a sophomore." And so she was like, "Yeah, like, I'll send you the application when it comes out." So I applied, went through the interview process, lucky enough, landed a position in our athletics department as a marketing intern, and has been such a highlight of my experience. Everyone I have met has played an impact. Like, it's so hard to even focus on one part. Everyone I've met has just been so supportive. And I think I've gotten really lucky because a lot of people that are marketing interns have, like, other commitments. But the fact that my coach works in the athletics department and our cheer advisor works in the athletics department, that they can say, like, "Oh, no, Joey's cheering this game, she can't work." Or, "Cheer has practice, I'm gonna have to be a little late to work the game," or, something like that. So, that has been something that's, like, I probably couldn't do without that? So I think the connections I've made within there, and it's not just me, like, so many of our athletes, like, I can think of, like, 5 or 6. One does sports med, she works with the other teams, another one does digital content, another one's a marketing intern with me. And it wasn't even like my coach was like, "Oh, I have one of my athletes is applying." We just applied. Like, we worked for it. But then again, we would have never found out if we weren't on the cheer team. So it was almost like this realization, like, we switch our mind to that working mindset, but we worked for it for ourselves. I just think it's so important. Like, no matter if you have a job in your athletics department or not, I was really lucky that what I wanted to do was so connected to my coach. And kind of going off of that, we also have captains on our team. And so one of them is part of managing our social media presence. So I told my coach I was a marketing major. I really want to do that. That plays into marketing, even though social media isn't specifically what I will do, what I want to do. I mean, maybe like who knows, but I got to run that, and that is really eye-opening. Like, that was such a huge part of marketing, like, your voice and your cheer team, and so many eyes are on you. So, it's like you get to put your program out in the best light and show how much you love your team on social media.
I love that. And I think that you finding your way as it relates to what you want to do short term or long term is a good testament to a good coach that your coach was asking about what you're interested in, but really a good testament of you as an athlete. I think that it can be easy. I've never been a college athlete, but I can imagine that it can be easy to let school be school and let cheer be cheer. Even though you're cheering for your school, it can be easy to compartmentalize cheer into what it is at face value, with showing up to practice and getting ready for competition or getting ready for game day or whatever it is, or team bonding, and not think about how the two can work together for your overall success, which is really what it's all about for college athletes and really what your leaders want for you.
Mhm. 100%. But I think my main point is or, like, what I wanna get across from, like, being able to work in this athletics department is that you won't get anything unless you put in the work. If I was an athlete that was just like, "Okay, I just wanna cheer, I'm gonna show up the minimum, 5 to 7 practice, and I'm just gonna show up when I have to," I would have never gotten this internship. Like, absolutely not. And some girls are like that, and that's okay, that's how they like cheer to be in their life, you know? But I was someone that I knew I wanted to be a part of it, and I was a cheer captain in high school, and so I knew, like, going into college, that was something that I wanted to do. So, I think when I came in with the mindset, like, I'm doing cheer, I'm giving everything I got. I'm gonna, give it everything because it's a lot, it means a lot to me. The fact that it, like, landed me this internship just made it even more, like, not saying that was worth it, but it was, even if I didn't get it, cheer was worth it. So, you only get what you put in. And it's the same with, like, being an intern. There's so many interns, but you're never gonna get the opportunity to do specific tasks for specific teams if you aren't doing the base work first. And one thing that we do as marketing interns, we roll t-shirts. Like, when you do the t-shirt toss, you roll the t-shirts and you give them the cheerleaders to throw out. If you're gonna be the intern that's gonna complain about rolling t-shirts, you're never gonna get anywhere. Like, that is the base level. If you want your cheer career to be successful and have a relationship with your coach, it starts with doing more than just showing up your 5 to 7 practice.
Oh, good, Joey. You're going to be successful. I can tell. Okay, so you were social media captain, which I think is so cool because like I never thought about, even though I was like interacting with CU Cheer in Instagram, like I never thought about, oh, like a student is running this and they're doing it for marketing experience. What other opportunities, like what other captains are there on the CU cheer team specifically? And what other opportunities have you seen your teammates get as a result of being more involved in cheer?
I mean, we do have, like, a head captain, and then we have a few co-captains, and there's different roles in the team. Like, in the past, we've had, like, a team bonding captain or keeping track of certain appearances we go to, like I talked about before, you get the points and stuff like that. There's different captains for that, but I do think that a lot of, like I said before, like, I'm marketing, that's very specific, but other girls are sports med, and they have gotten this internship position within the school that they wouldn't have necessarily had unless they had cheer. A lot of what I learned being a business student is it's all about connections. So, of course, when I probably applied, I don't really know the communication between the person who hired me to my cheer coach, but I'm assuming he probably walked in her office and was like, "Tell me about this girl that applied. Tell me about Joey," you know? So I assume that before any of us were hired, that's what they did. It's like you put in what you get. And like, no, I didn't come ever to this school thinking, yeah, I'd be a marketing intern. Like, no, I never thought that. It just kind of like comes along the way with, we've just been so, I don't know how to explain it. I can't put the words to it. It's been a really positive experience. We got so lucky.
I love that. Joey, what's next? You're wrapping up your senior year. What's next for you?
I am not too sure, to be honest. What I've learned is that I kind of have to go with the flow. And that is really hard for me because I'm such a planner. But I may go to grad school. I could get a job. There is so many opportunities. I've talked to so many people that are helping me, but right now it's a huge question mark. And it's tough because when you do cheer for this long and you get to see your friends every single day of the week and you don't have to plan it, your coaches plan it for you, it's hard because you won't have those 30 people who are going after the same thing as you who want you to succeed. You have people in life that want you to succeed, but having someone your like close to your age going after the same thing and same passion is so tough. I know I got kind of off topic, but it's a huge question mark for me. I really don't know. I have like a hopeful plan, but then again, like I'm open. Like as I said before, like I did not come to this school thinking I'd be a marketing intern at one point. Like I never thought that would happen. So I'm just trying to let life play its course. I will make a decision when I get grad school applications back and talk to other people about potential jobs and stuff.
Well, I know that you are not alone in your plight. From my own experience, question marks can be the best launching point of your life. If this conversation between the two of us has been any indication, you are going to be in a great place and will have great things and great opportunities coming to you.
Oh, well, thank you. I appreciate that. But yeah, I think you hit it on the head is like if any college senior, high school senior, you're trying to figure out where to go next year or anything, like talk with your friends because you are not alone. And I have had to learn that the hard way because you think everyone has a plan, but then you go to your friends that are seniors on my team and they're like, yeah, I have no idea either. That made me feel a lot better. So, although it is a question mark, almost everyone in my grade's in the same boat. You know,
Yep. Hey, watch the last season of Gilmore Girls. Rory Gilmore, same thing.
I love the Gilmore Girls. I actually have a sign. I don't even know if you can see it in my room, but I love the Gilmore Girls. Favorite show.
Rory broke down crying because she didn't know what she was going to do after she graduated. So I know it's a normal thing.
It's
Joey,
true.
thank you so much for spending some time with me. I have learned so much from this conversation. I know the listeners have too. And I'm so glad that we got to do this.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it. It was so much fun.